So what I'm understanding is you put out a detailed statement on all your social media platforms. Post that, has there been any communication from the side, either from the filmmaker or others involved with the film?
Yes, there has been communication between the management and the
Okay.
team of Kantara, and they are in talking terms. So on the first day that we put our post out, they did get in touch and they did have some discussions with our management. Post that, there has been no response from their end. So we're looking forward to that. And hopefully there is a conclusion to all of this.
So you're saying there has been no communication post that initial one. At this stage, are you seeking legal action then?
In terms of legal action, definitely that's happening. If they don't get back to us, that's definitely the entire legal team and the management has been working for days over this, planning the entire step of what we have to do in the future.
Sure.
So that is going to definitely happen. And in terms of it's only going to be a different take if the team of Kantara has to get in touch with the management and has a different conclusion over it, then there'll be a different story to it.
So then I want to understand at this stage, because the movie is already out, what are you expecting from the filmmaker or those involved with the movie?
Initially, what was there that it was the credits.
Sure.
But now that the movie is already out, so definitely credits is not going to happen. So whatever has to be the decision between the management and the Kantara team has to be on whatever grounds. But I think the legal team is the best, are the right ones to take a decision on this. What has to be the call, what has to be done, and they can decide. But as the band, as Silent Bridge, we wanted to actually put it out there in social media to make sure that there is no confusion in terms of a lot of people thought that we are associated with the team Kantara.
Bien, lastly, before I let you go, there are some on social media also saying maybe you're just trying to cash in on the popularity of the film. How do you respond to that criticism?
I mean, we don't know who are these people commenting on social media saying that we need exposure. We are using Kantara to be famous. I think being an independent band, being Taikudam Bridge, we have always believed in having this beautiful family all across everywhere. We call it Be the Bridge family, and we have always believed in getting everyone together. And I don't think so. After 9 years, after more than 700 shows, after touring 22 countries, I don't think so. We are looking for something like that. We have shows lined up the entire month, and we have been super busy. We have released an amazing album, Nama, and I don't think so. That is something that we are looking out for. This is not the first time that the tracks have been used for many series, and they have got in touch. They have taken permission. They have used it. So that's the way that you go about it. Not use the word inspired and just take the entire recipe and just add a little bit of salt to it and say, okay, this is mine. That's not how it works.
Okay. When we leave the conversation there, hoping there is some closure to this controversy. With that, it's a wrap from my side. The news continues here on CNN News 18.
Good evening, hello and welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Anusha Soni. The political storm is brewing in Telangana after 3 people were arrested by the police for allegedly trying to poach 4 MLAs of the ruling TRS. Now the ruling party in the state has alleged that its Union Minister G. Kishan Reddy's aide, who is one of the accused, which was caught attempting to poach the MLAs. That's an allegation. Mr. Reddy has refuted all these charges. Now, all these developments unfold in the wake of upcoming by-polls in Munagore. There's no doubt that BJP has been aggressively trying to expand into the state of Telangana to fill in a political void and to capture the political space. But is there enough evidence to show that BJP made an attempt to poach the MLAs? Apart from the political slugfest, is this entire incident an indication of the rising political temperatures in the state, or there is actual substance to prove the charges made by the TRS? We explore all these angles on Viewpoint this evening. First up, a special report.
High drama in Telangana ahead of the high-stakes by-polls in Munugode. Allegations of poaching and Operation Lotus are flying thick and fast. In a sensational turn of events, cops swooped down on a farmhouse on the outskirts of Hyderabad and caught 3 men in the act of bribing 4 MLAs of the ruling TRS. The cops were tipped off by one of the MLAs, who claimed the accused offered 100 crores each to switch sides to the BJP.
BJP is known for toppling state governments across India. But one thing is clear out today, that KCRG's MLAs are not for sale.
The BJP accused TRS of doing drama because it is staring at defeat in the upcoming by-polls.
बिल्कुल बेबुनियादी है, जानबूझकर मुनगोड में हारने वाले हैं, आने वाले चुनाव में टीआरएस जाने वाले हैं, एक नया मुख्यमंत्री आएंगे, उसके बचने के लिए अलग-अलग नया जिम्मिक्स डेली केसीआर तेलंगाना में हमारे ऊपर कर रहे हैं.
Munugode will be going to polls on the 3rd of November, and the by-polls are being seen as a precursor to next year's assembly elections in Telangana. For the TRS, winning the by-poll will be crucial as the party's founder KCR is unveiling his national ambitions.
भारत माता की.
But a win for the BJP will establish it as the sole challenger to the TRS. So is the poll rhetoric only going to get shriller from here on?
And the latest news coming in, the BJP Telangana in charge Tarun Chugh has demanded an inquiry by the Election Commission on the alleged poaching attempt. He has accused the TRS of planting stories to malign the BJP and claims the complicity of the state police authorities in the conspiracy. He says this is a political conspiracy, it needs to be exposed. I want to cut across to my colleague Swastika, who's been tracking all the developments from the state of Telangana. Swastika, tell us what exactly is the demand by the BJP and on what legal grounds do they want the Election Commission to interfere?
Well, the TRS has mounted its attack on BJP and their allegation is simple. You're trying to poach our MLAs because you don't have candidates in the state of Telangana. BJP has countered that by saying you are facing defeat in Munugodu, you're also facing a huge wave of anti-incumbency and it is almost evident that the CM is going to lose his chair. That's the reason why TRS is allegedly resorting to this kind of what they call dirty and cheap tactics. Now Tarun Chugh there demanding what the party essentially demanded earlier, a CBI probe or a special investigation team to lead the entire probe, because they have also said that the police in this case which raided that farmhouse yesterday is also hand in glove. They say that the entire script, direction, screenplay and the production is being done by Telangana Chief Minister KCR himself. They have raised certain questions over the evidence as well. They said if a raid was conducted, what were the seizures made? That's point number 1. Point number 2, why were only the 3 accused questioned? They are not defending the accused. They are saying if the accused were also there, we should also question why the TRS MLAs were not questioned in the first place. Why act on a tip-off of the TRS MLAs? So they are saying that this entire script, it's a script, it's fabricated and it's a concocted version, a desperate version put forth by the TRS because they know that they are facing defeat in the elections. Anusha.
All right, Swastika, trying to sieve through the political whataboutery, the political slugfest, you're tracking the story on the ground. Why don't you lay down the bare facts for our viewers? What exactly happened? What does the FIR say? What was recovered in the seizures that were made by the police? And what are the holes or perhaps the gaps that exist in the investigation right now? It's still in the preliminary stage. But what exactly are the questions which still need to be answered? Those broad pointers. Swastika.
Anusha, very briefly, at about 8:30, reporters received an input that there has been a raid at a Moinabad farmhouse belonging to Rohit Reddy, who is a TRS MLA. At this particular farmhouse, we are given to understand there were 4 TRS MLAs, Guvula Balaraju, Kantarao, Rohit Reddy and one more person. And on the other side, there were 3 accused, Satish Sharma, Swami Simayalu, and the other one is Nand Kumar. Nand Kumar is a Hyderabad-based businessman. Satish Sharma is from Faridabad. and the other Swamiji here is from Tirupati. These are the basic facts. Police say that seizures have been made, but what were the contents we don't know yet. Sources had indicated that 15 crores was seized. Cut to the next day, the FIR copy says that back in September, on the 26th of September, in fact, Rohit Reddy was contacted by Nandakumar Satish Sharma from Faridabad. With an offer that we'll give you 100 crore, you join our party, topple the TRS. And then exactly a month later, when Rohit Reddy had set up a meetup, he also tipped off the police, and of course the TRS High Command was also in the know-how. That is when the TRS on its part, the TRS MLAs say they saved the party by giving the information and preventing a poaching bid that was being done by these three agents. They say all the three of them belong to the BJP. But the police on record has not said so. They said that their identities are being asserted. FIR copy does mention that two of these men are belonging to the BJP. But where is the evidence is the big question that the BJP is asking.
All right. Thank you, Swastika, for reporting on that story and getting us all the bare facts about that ongoing investigation. At the end of the day, it's a police investigation. We are going to conduct this debate not just on the political dynamics and the political war of words which is going on between the BJP and TRS, but what exactly has the investigation revealed so far and what lies ahead. Now, joining us on the broadcast is Rajalakshmi Joshi, who's an author, Lavanya Balal, who's a spokesperson of the Congress party, Anup Bugadi, who's from the TRS, and Mr. Vikram Singh, who's the former DGP of UP. We are also expecting Gurva Reddy from the BJP to join us in just a few minutes from now. I want to come to you, Anup ji, first, and I want to take in a reaction from you. The BJP is saying this is a big fat political conspiracy that the TRS has hatched, and you're doing it by being in complicity with the state police authorities. They are demanding an investigation by the Election Commission themselves. What do you have to say about that?
See, first thing we need to understand, this is not new for BJP. You have seen Maharashtra politics, Eknath Shinde, you have seen Karnataka, you have seen Jyotiraditya Scindia in Madhya Pradesh. So you have seen across India that what BJP did. And you can listen, Aam Aadmi Party claimed that BJP, by using 6,000 crores, they buy around 277 MLAs in entire India. So it's not new for BJP. Here in Telangana, Operation Lotus is failed. Operation Lotus is failed. That's the reason Bharatiya Janata Party unnecessarily saying inquire with some CBI, inquire with some Supreme Court judges. Why the hell we do with them?
Anupji, you said a lot of points. I'll come back to you. I want you to speak more on this right now. But what I'm trying to say is that whatever the Aam Aadmi Party said or whatever different opposition parties are saying, none of it has been proven in a court of law. They remain political allegations at the best. So far, there is nothing conclusive to prove that. That being said, the use of money and muscle power in Indian politics is well known. The question I'm asking you is that is there enough evidence with the police authorities to say that allegedly BJP was involved? Because, as my colleague Swastika reported, the police on record have not taken the name of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
See, you need to wait and watch because it is still in a trial session. So, as per our sources, police has already secured 84 CCTV footage and as well as simultaneously the body-worn camera with audio and video recording. So, the police will produce everything in the court and we need to wait and watch for the evidence.
So, Anupji, that takes me to the next question. Other than hearsay, what you call in law, because somebody said, he said, she said, what is the basis on which TRS is leveling such a big charge? Do you have call records? Do you have testimony? Because merely on the basis of photographs, you cannot prove a political charge in a court of law before the police authorities or before the court, as and when the matter goes for trial.
That entire nation will watch. See, the police department has secured all the CCTV footages as well as the audio and video recording, the phone call list and everything. So they'll submit in the court and court will decide who is guilty. We already detained 3 persons. Why BJP was feared about the detain of 3 persons? One from Faridabad, one from Tirupati, one from Hyderabad. So you need to understand what happening. It is not Maharashtra. Here, Telangana MLAs are not for sale. They need to understand TRS MLAs are not for sale.
Okay. I've taken your point. We'll try and connect with the BJP as well as soon as possible. In the meanwhile, I want to cut across to Lavanya as well, who's with us on the show. Lavanya, your thoughts on this entire political controversy which is spanning out between the BJP and the TRS. Of course, the investigation is underway. But I ask that question again, is there enough evidence to make a statement one way or the other? Because the TRS leader himself says that this is still at a very preliminary stage, it needs to go to a trial. So perhaps an occasion to make right kind of political noises, but the substance of the matter.
Good evening, Anusha.
Good evening.
The very strange part that we all have to agree upon is whenever there's an allegation of malpractice before elections or horse trading of the MLAs, it is always the BJP which has been accused of trying to purchase MLAs of different parties. Why is it that no other party has been accused of this malpractice? Why is it
a quick
always
response,
the blame is on BJP?
quick argument
And
to be
we
the
in
devil's
Karnataka
advocate
have
here would
been-
be, Lavanya, because BJP is right now the political party in the country which is winning one election after the other. It is the number one party or the number one political opponent for any political party in the country. So clearly any political party in the opposition would want to take pot shots. That can be the very simple and a plain
Anusha.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah, Anusha, if you would let me complete.
Please go ahead.
We have seen Operation Kamala much before it existed in the rest of Karnataka, India. Karnataka was the first state where Operation Kamala was operated by the BJP. And let me tell you, that was a very turbulent times, and that was a time when BJP was not ruling in the center. Anusha, also, the question here arises is, why is it the Election Commission has not taken proactive action against the allegations made by different parties? Why isn't it taking cognizance of the same? Why isn't the judiciary not taking cognizance of these accusations? What has the judiciary and what has the Election Commission done to safeguard the constitutional way the elections should be conducted? That is the biggest question. Why is it that the Election Commission has been always silent? Why is it that they have not been able to...
In fact, the
for once
BJP is
for
saying
all.
that there should be an inquiry by the
in
Election
Karnataka.
Commission themselves in the matter.
Even in Karnataka, when Mr. Yediyurappa and his party men were, a lot of times there was, allegations of phone tapping and everything with regards to the horse trading. So what has happened? What conclusion has the courts of India reached to when about this matter? The question is, why is it always Operation Kamala and not any other party? This is the question that the media should also
Reddy,
be asking.
Mr.
What
Guruva
the
Reddy is
connection
also with
between
us on the
BJP
broadcast.
and
Mr. Reddy,
Amit Shah?
a lot of thing has been said about the BJP, the use of money and muscle power, allegations by the TRSU, you're aware about it. But there's an interesting point that Lavanya raises, that why is it always the BJP which is under the line of fire when it comes to money, power or allegedly buying and selling of MLAs? Please respond to that charge. Mr. Reddy.
See, basically, it's all a created story. In the by-election that is going on in Munugodu, TRS has clearly lost the battle. They do not have anything else except trying to create some kind of a news story or, allegation on BJP and divert the attention of the public. All these 4 MLAs who are allegedly were poached by BJP are to be purchased. I'm really shocked because 4 of these MLAs are like Benamis. I cannot officially give a certificate on that, but it's a phenomenon. Everybody knows these 4 MLAs are like organs to KCR's son KTR. They are very close to him, and he's chosen only 4 of these MLAs because even if tomorrow this exercise goes futile and it's misfire, and tomorrow these people should not jump the wagon and give a statement against the TRS. So he's chosen his own team people. He tried to create a scene where people get their attention diverted because it's in the Munugod by poll, it's the public talk is all about BJP. People are choosing BJP. They are talking about BJP, and in spite of loads and loads of money, I cannot count the money, but it's loads and loads of money being spent in various terms, various methodologies by TRS. People are still choosing the candidate because the clear difference between the BJP candidate Rajgopal Reddy and the TRS candidate is the eloquency, public presence, the acceptability.
Mr. Reddy, there's one more question I want to ask you, which is that these are not mere political allegations. It's true that the matter is still under investigation, but there's an FIR that has been registered. The allegation which is being made is that some of the accused have pictures with some ministers. And Mr. Reddy, of course, has also clarified, Mr. J. Kishan Reddy has clarified that, I'm not involved in any manner possible. That being said, do you think that there is any kind of substantial basis to the charges which are being made by the TRS?
No,
because this is a police investigation at the end of the day.
See, we demand, our State President Bandi Sanjay has demanded an investigation in the leadership of a sitting judge, not just police, because police is biased in Telangana state, as everybody knows. In the by-election that went by a few months back in Huzurabad, police were clearly giving support to TRS party, and then that's why BJP had to approach, the candidate has to approach the central forces. The moment central forces were brought down here, then the situation got under control and the election went on fairly. But this is the same situation here. We cannot depend on
what kind
Telangana
of inquiry are you
doing
expecting from the Election Commission, Mr. Reddy?
The farmhouse, the location, the people involved, the cameraman, all these can be investigated, and when there's no proper basis for the kind of allegations they're making, is to conduct or to carry hundreds of crores of rupees in suitcases.
Okay.
And what is the police doing? How is it possible? Where the money has come from? Whose money it is?
I want to bring in Rajalakshmi Joshi and Mr. Vikram Singh also into the discussion. Mr. Singh, first to you. Let's talk about from the point of view of investigation. Prima facie, it looks like that there were certain recoveries that were made. There is CCTV footage on record. But for police to actually prove these charges, what are the basic evidences they would require to present before the trial court?
The acid test of any investigation, including this, would be the testimony of the alleged MLAs and their testimony on oath. But discounting the fact that these statements are changed at the drop of a hat, even that has to be taken into account. Any administrative inquiry will not be able to do justice to it unless it is backed up by scientific and other important circumstantial evidence, backed up by the statements given by the MLAs on oath, on camera, and preferably in presence of a magistrate. Then all this will have to be collected and produced before the court of law. And then wild allegations will not be of any consequence. These are very sensitive matters, and unless they are corroborated, confirmed, and matched by other evidence, that is CCTV
but Mr.
footages.
Singh, if these are MLAs of a different political party, and one of the presumption can be, or one of the plausible arguments can be, that it works in their political interest to make an allegation against an opponent political party. So will their statement really be taken on the face value, or there needs to be some more evidence to prove the charges that have been made?
You are very right. All statements made, there can be a possibility of the vested interest, and also that they have been propped up against a particular person for a particular roadmap and an agenda. To discount that, it has to be backed up by other supporting evidence, and that is where the CCTV footages, recoveries, and other call details, etc., will have to match to prove a point. Just a statement from a person who perhaps will be branded a partisan, his statement will not be of much consequence alone in its own light.
Okay. Rajalakshmi ji, I'm coming to you. This is being said that, this is all about a very crucial bypoll which is to happen. And that is why both the political parties are making noises about this. The argument of the BJP is that the TRS is scared of losing. They are scared of BJP gaining more and more prominence and importance in the state of Telangana. And that's why, quote unquote, these conspiracies are being hatched. Your thoughts on this?
Good evening, Anuja. This actually looks like a failed script, bad script, because very frankly, this is happening, just 4 days before a crucial bypolls, which seems to be the poll of the the recent times, because everybody seems to be very much interested in it. The Munugodu bypolls that I'm talking about. Just 4 days before that, all of this happens, and it is so conveniently, it looks all very conveniently planned, etc., etc. And the kind of figures that everybody is throwing, like 100 crores or 400 crores, it is all huge amounts of money. So obviously, this is something that needs proper investigation, and it is something that very clearly by proper CCTV records, by phone records, etc. I think investigation should be done, and it should be established as to the credibility of all these claims, because you can very easily throw all these kind of baseless allegations and try to create some kind of a narrative just before the elections, and this is something that the opposition has been throwing all the time. That every time somebody wants to shift over to the BJP, there is this talk about Operation Lotus, which I find very silly.
Anupji, I want you to come into the discussion. Other than pictures that have been shown in the public domain, that look, these are the people who've been arrested. Here's a picture with the said minister, and the minister has a explanation which seems prima facie plausible, that I get clicked with a lot of people. He owns a restaurant, and that was something I didn't even know about. So that cannot conclusively prove anything, and legally also a picture cannot really prove anything. Other than the picture and the testimony of MLAs, is there anything on record to prove the involvement of the BJP? And the reason I'm asking you this question, despite the fact that this matter is under investigation, is because you are a responsible political party, a party which is ruling the state of Telangana. And when you go to, go to the town and say it's BJP which is conducting Operation Lotus and they're trying to buy MLAs, there must be basis to what you're saying.
See, first thing, Anusha, here police department has collected all technical evidences. So they have submitted FIR copy. Now they have collected all the technical evidences. It is a due course of law, and court will decide what is what. When we come to the politics, as BJP, due to anti-incumbency, they lost their ground in north states. Now they focused completely to gain ground in southern states. That's the reason they pulled a Congress leader into Bharatiya Janata Party, given a contract of 18,000 crores to him. And he is the candidate who is contesting in bypoll of Munugodu. See, it is not our seat, first thing. It is a Congress seat. So here all the people are doing attention and diversion politics in Telangana, not more than two. They have only 3 MLAs in Telangana. Why BJP is creating mess out of it? And see, they lost already ground in Telangana and they are going to lose Munugodu as well. Then they know that the reality very well. They are completely doing a diversion politics. And one thing we are very much clear, we have all technical evidences. We'll submit everything in the court. I'm not sure why Central Minister Kishan Reddy saying that you need to hand over the case to CBI, you need to hand over the case to Supreme Court, because those institutions are under the control of central government.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Reddy. Mr. Reddy, do you want to respond to what Anupji is saying?
They have already threatened our MLAs. If you are not come to the Bharatiya Janata Party, if you not support to BJP, you will face an ED rights and all the things.
Okay, let's listen into what BJP has to say. Mr. Gurva Reddy, respond to what TRS is saying, that you're using money, muscle power. What TRS is also saying is that you're threatening the MLAs. Respond to all these charges.
I am surprised that the sitting government, state government, sitting government with 80 plus MLAs does not have courage and confidence in their MLAs. And they are creating a havoc.
It's all about. There is no
Anupji, let him make his point. Anupji, let him make his point. I'll come back to you. Yes, Mr. Reddy, please go ahead.
This is all about one small by-election. And he's talking about 18,000 crore contract. Does it really require that kind of money to win an election? What kind of money that TRS is willing to spend in that case?
Your MLA accepted it, boss.
Do you really think that thousands of crores of contracts being awarded to a regular contractor who is already into thousands of crores of contracts in the last 20 years? You're trying to tell me that this was to intend to take that government money or public funds into spend in Munugodu? This is all rubbish. This is baseless. It's as baseless as 400 crores cash is being transported into a farmhouse without any security, or you're talking about some pictures taken with Kishan Reddy. Kishan Reddy takes pictures with hundreds of people every day, and you don't know. The same KTR, Mr. TRS MLAs take pictures with hundreds of people on Eid day in festivals, Dasara and all. And you cannot just guarantee on that. As we had an expert talking about, you need to go into forensic evidences, and the evidences need to be, investigated and interrogated in front of a sitting judge. And that will be the minimum. Otherwise, CBI has to come into picture. Suppose if you really think that the TRS approves that there is 400 crores cash is being transported, what is the police doing? What is the the other system is doing now? Do they think that
that's a point. Anupji, one of the key things that our reporter was also pointing out is that when the reporters were there and there were bags that were being collected, and you can see the recoveries that the police was making. So far in the public domain, there is no figure that has been put out that, look, this is the sum of money that has been recovered. A lot of important facts and figures are yet to come into light, and there's a point that the BJP has, that if about 400 crore rupees was circulating in the state of Telangana and allegedly your MLAs were being bought and sold, why didn't you do anything about it? You're the ruling party.
See, first thing, a BJP leader, they need to go through the FIR. What our MLA, TRS MLA, Mr. Poilet, Rohit Reddy was complained. They said that initially, if you join a Bharatiya Janata Party, we will give 50 crores for each MLA. After joining the Bharatiya Janata Party, we will give another 50 crores. That was the allegation made by them. So police department has shown some couple of bags in a car number stating the 2777. So what is there in that bag, even we don't know. The police need to submit everything in the court. How can TRS leader can say that? It is
No,
under
sir,
the jurisdiction
the
of
question,
the police department.
you have a fair
See, one
point,
thing,
but
it
the
is
question
under-
on the other side is also that if the matter is sub judice and police is investigating, then why is TRS jumping the gun and making allegations on the BJP? That's a fair question to ask.
See, that's what we
This
have.
is all
call
about a
record
conspiracy
stating
being
that, see,
created.
we have
Conspiracy
a
being
call
created,
record
trying to
stating that
divert
one
the
of the
attention.
central
Mr. Reddy, I'll
minister
come
or
to
else whomsoever. See, he is disturbing. We have a call records. They have offered us being an complaint. We have complained to the police department stating that these guys are offered this much. We have mentioned same
One
thing
question
in the
I have.
FIR.
All right, Mr. Reddy, please go ahead. Mr. Reddy, please go ahead.
I
I'm
have
short of
one
time.
question for my friend. Is there any authentic leader who has got the capacity to transport? Suppose an MLA is being sold, somebody is being poached. Is there any authentic or recognized leader or a party member who controls the cash in any political party, or somebody, a business person, who has the capacity to disperse hundreds of crores of rupees, where an MLA can depend on tomorrow for 58 crores or 500, 400 crores to be, can be, dependent upon? Can I trust you with 400 crores cash tomorrow if I join? Is there any such kind of authorized or authentic
you need to talk
personality
with
approach
Eknath Shinde. Mr. Gurwa Reddy, that you need to talk with Eknath Shinde. How much cash
why
he took
Eknath,
from
you are bringing
BJP
in
party in
Eknath Shinde in
Assam?
Telangana?
You need to talk
Why
with
Eknath
Eknath
Shinde
Shinde. How
talking in
it's possible?
Telangana? Let us talk about
Not in
Munugodu.
TRS party. You need
All
to
right,
talk with
Lavanya
Eknath
has a
Shinde.
quick point to make. Lavanya has a quick point to make. Lavanya, please go ahead.
Yes. In the year 2021, in April, Karnataka High Court has ordered an inquiry into Operation Kamala that happened in Karnataka in the year 2019, and this was basis of Mr. Patil's son, who had complained. There was a phone call recorded between Yediyurappa and Mr. Patil, where Yediyurappa ji is offering him 10 crores to switch sides. So there is an inquiry going on in the Karnataka courts. So the existence of Operation Lotus is not an alien concept, and it is being seen by us. And Karnataka was the first state where
All right,
Operation Kamala happened.
I have last
in the year
30 seconds.
2008.
Mr. Reddy,
And it has been
Operation
consistently
Lotus is
going on.
not fictitious in nature. It has happened
This is a
before.
conspiracy
Go ahead.
theory. This is a conspiracy theory to
Please
divert the attention of
send
public
that to the
talk
High
on
Court of
Munugodu.
Karnataka, sir.
Lavanya,
If it
let
is
him make a point. Let him make a point.
No,
I'm
if
sorry.
it is fiction, he has
I'm not
to
denying.
submit.
I'm not denying Karnataka. I'm denying Karnataka or Yediyurappa that record. I'm talking about Munugodu. By-election is a clear talk in favor of BJP candidate there.
We are going to lose that battle,
TRS just
boss.
want to divert the attention.
We are going to lose that
Let the
battle.
media
We'll
talk
see the
about
result
not
on November
BJP. Let the
6th.
media talk about all
We are going to lose that
all
battle
this
at any
conspiracy.
cost.
This is a conspiracy need to be investigated. This conspiracy need to be investigated. I am sure all these 4 MLAs who are
Mr. Reddy,
including
are you
Pilot Rohit Reddy will be
seeking some
prosecuted.
kind of central agency to inquire into this matter, or you're going to
Absolutely.
make,
If the
or you're
government-
going to
yes.
ask the High Court or the Supreme Court to monitor this investigation?
We are going to ask this High Court to appoint a sitting judge. If it's not possible, then we'll approach CBI.
You will
Absolutely.
approach the CBI, but you'll have to do that through the court, because I don't think the government
Yes.
is going to hand over the
So
investigation.
once this High Court approves for a sitting judge, we'll be happy with that. If
All
not,
right.
then we'll have to.
All right, I'm short of time. I thank all our guests for joining us on the broadcast. Yet another big political controversy in the state of Telangana. Yes, there's a police investigation going on, but let's see if it reaches the logical conclusion, or perhaps an investigation will be yet another lost one in the political noises that come around the high-profile matters like these. With that, it's a wrap. Griha joins you on the other side.
Arun, welcome. You're watching Biggest Exclusive tonight with me, Griha Siddiqui. Gender wage gap in cricket bridged. How do you feel when you read this headline? It's a good feeling, right? A new milestone for women's cricket in India has been achieved today as the BCCI Secretary Jay Shah announced that as part of the board's pay equity policy, the women's cricket team players will hereon receive the same match fee as their male counterparts. This indeed is BCCI coming a long way from the massive wage gap among male and female cricketers that it endorsed just a short while back. Yes, because if it isn't a seal of approval really when India's best women cricketer gets a contract worth 50 lakhs annually, while the country's best male cricketer's contract is worth 7 crore rupees, then what is it? What has been achieved today, however, is step 1, with equal match fee for both men and women. But when it comes to the staggering gap in the annual retainership between the genders, with the best male cricketers assured of a sum that is 14 times the sum that the best female cricketers are entitled to, there's still a long way to go. Take a look.
welcome this decision, and we always talk about equality, and first time in India, and now we are getting the equal pay as men are getting, and I'm really happy, and I'm really happy this is happening now, and I'm sure now a lot of girls in India, they will take cricket as a professional career.
It's a big day for women's cricket. This was long due. It was required for sports, particularly in India, as well as the society. This will give huge boost to women's cricket.
It's another big decision in terms of the milestone that women's cricket has achieved in the past few years. I personally also feel that for all the changes to happen in the right direction, it is one step at a time.
So what really has changed today? How does this equal pay structure look like now as opposed to earlier? Let's take a look. Now this is what we are talking about as women in blue getting their due. How are they doing that? If we look at test matches, earlier they used to get just 4 lakh rupees as opposed to male players who used to get 15 lakhs. So now they too will be getting 15 lakh rupees. When it comes to one day international, earlier, look at the gap over here. 6 lakh was paid to every male member, male cricketer. However, 1 lakh only to the female cricketers. Now that changes. 6 lakh it is for the female cricketers as well. If we actually go ahead and take a look at T20 internationals, it was 1 lakh, just 1 lakh earlier for female players. However, now this changes to 3 lakh, which is at par with the male players. Now, remember, New Zealand was the first board internationally to get in some kind of equity in central contracts. Players Association in New Zealand signed a 5-year deal for equal match fee, both at international and domestic levels, for all the formats and competitions. Because, let's face it, there's still a massive lack of parity as far as central contracts go between female and male cricketers. Now, this is how it looks like. Now, this is what we are talking about. The period that we are looking at is October 2020 to 21. If we look at female grade A plus players, look at this here. There are none. So it is not applicable when it comes to females, and that if it actually explains the massive gap. Now, grade A gets just 50 lakh rupees as opposed to 5 crores, while grade A plus in male members gets 7 crore rupees annually. That is the contract looks like. So Virat Kohli is entitled to 7 crore rupees. However, there is no grade A plus players when it comes to female cricketers. 50 lakh for grade A players, 5 crores when it comes to the male cricketers. Grade B, 30 lakhs for females, 3 crores again for male cricketers. Grade C, 10 lakh, while there is 1 crore for male cricketers. That is how massive this gap is. Now, you might be aware that there are a lot of market factors at play when deciding the money that gets transferred to the players. All these determine sponsor interests, and the worth of all the broadcasting and on-ground rights is the money that the board receives later, a portion of which eventually goes to the players. Now, why is that? We have to actually take a look at what is happening over here. BCCI's annual revenue, now 26% of that goes to the cricketers and 13% is received by the men's cricketers internationally. 10.3% is received by the domestic players when it comes to male members. However, just 2.7% is received by junior and women cricketers. This is what is happening. Now, why this bigger gap? Well, you all know that there is a greater interest in men's cricket, and this is generationally. There are more established tournaments that are played by men, and market sadly hasn't existed for women's cricket. But there is also a concerted effort that is required that women's cricket is promoted to attract those market forces to come into favor for women's cricket. Let's actually go ahead and open this debate. However, before I go ahead and do that, let me actually bring in a special guest on the broadcast. So joining me this evening is an ace Indian cricketer who has shattered a glass ceiling herself, as she is the first player from Haryana to play for India's women's team, India Railway team, and also T20 Women's Asia Cup final. So let's first get in her views on this big step by the BCCI today. Parity, thank you so much हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. This is a big announcement. और न्यूजीलैंड के बाद इंडिया दूसरा ऐसा बोर्ड है दुनिया में जिसने ये किया है. क्या कहना चाहेंगी आप?
मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे काफी जैसे अभी ये था अपना वर्ल्ड कप था, T20 वर्ल्ड कप में भी अपन लोग रनर अप रहे थे। उससे पहले 2017 में भी ODI में हम लोग रनर अप थे, और अभी कॉमनवेल्थ में भी हम रनर अप थे। तो जो ये चीजें बदल रही हैं, ये शायद इन जो हम लोग मेहनत कर रहे हैं और जो मतलब एफर्ट्स डाल रहे हैं उसकी वजह से में भी ये चेंजेस हुए हैं। और इसकी वजह से मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे अच्छी क्रिकेट देखने को मिलेगी गर्ल्स की। और मैं भी यही चाहती हूँ कि जैसे अभी जैसे IPL का भी सुनने में आया है कि 6 टीमें हो जाएंगी और ऑक्शन वगैरह वैसे ही होंगे जैसे बॉयज के होते थे। तो मुझे भी इन चीजों से ये है कि गर्ल्स की क्रिकेट बहुत ज्यादा ऊपर आएगी। और दूसरा ये है कि जैसे जो गर्ल्स में जो इंडियन टीम में जो प्लेयर रह चुके हैं या करंटली अभी खेल रहे हैं, उन लोगों को इतना रिस्पेक्ट और मीडिया से लोगों से इतना सब कुछ फैंस वगैरह से इतना नहीं मिलता था, जो कि अब जैसे ये अमाउंट भी बढ़ा है उसकी वजह से क्रिकेट भी इम्प्रूव होगा। और कहीं ना कहीं अगर क्रिकेट इम्प्रूव होगा तो अच्छी क्रिकेट देखने को मिलेगी और वो फैंस को भी बहुत अच्छा लगेगा। और दूसरी बात मुझे ऐसी लगती है कि जैसे प्लेयर अपने ऊपर भी मतलब उसको यूज कर सकता है। अगर जैसे पहले जो अमाउंट मिल रहा था वो नॉर्मल एक अमाउंट था, उससे हमारी जो नॉर्मल फैसिलिटी थी वही कंप्लीट हो पाती थी। और जैसे अभी जो ये बढ़ा है अमाउंट उसकी वजह से अपना पर्सनल एक अच्छा ट्रेनर हायर कर सकते हैं हम लोग। तो उससे काफी कुछ चेंजेस देखने को मिलेंगे इंडियन टीम में, और उसकी वजह से एक 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 बोलते हैं ना कि एक नई इंडिया टीम उभर के आएगी आगे।
प्रीति, इसके बारे में बात बहुत पहले से हो रही थी, इतना बड़ा गैप था वुमेन क्रिकेटर और मेल क्रिकेटर्स की पे में। आपको लगता है कि पहले ही आ जाना चाहिए था ये?
नहीं नहीं, एक्चुअली ये 2017 में ही हो जाना चाहिए था। जिस टाइम पे ये ODI में हम लोग मतलब रनर अप रहे थे, उसी टाइम पे अगर ये चीजें हो जाती तो मे बी जो उसके बाद 2 बार हम लोग रनर अप रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं मतलब प्लेयर ये देखता है कि खुद के लिए मतलब हर एक मतलब जैसे प्रैक्टिस करने के लिए भी हर एक चीज में हमें पैसे की जरूरत होती है। और कहीं ना कहीं अगर हम उन चीजों को पहले अप्लाई करते तो मे बी इन दोनों चीजों में जैसे कॉमनवेल्थ में लगा लो, T20 वर्ल्ड कप में लगा लो, तो दोनों में हमारी में भी मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अगर ये चीज पहले अप्लाई हो जाती 2017 के बाद ही वर्ल्ड कप के बाद ODI, तो दोनों में मेरे को लगता है कि फर्स्ट प्लेस हमारी आराम से आ जाती। क्योंकि वो एक एक कॉम्बिनेशन बनता है ना टीम का, तो वो कहीं ना कहीं हम और ज्यादा मेहनत करते हैं। वो उसी की वजह से करते हैं कि जब हमारे पास थोड़ा सा अमाउंट एक्स्ट्रा आ जाए, जैसे जो अभी मिल रहा था उसमें हमारा मतलब सब मैनेज नहीं हो पा रहा था।
राइट। प्रीति, ऑनेस्टली इक्वल मैच फी के बारे में है ये सब कुछ, लेकिन अभी भी एक बहुत बड़ा गैप है सेंट्रल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स को लेके मेन और वुमेन में। तो आपको लगता है कि ये नेक्स्ट स्टेप होना चाहिए अब?
बस मैं तो यही चाहती हूँ कि देखो अभी धीरे धीरे चेंजेस हो रहे हैं, तो यही है कि जल्दी से जल्दी मतलब दोनों को एक इक्वल रखा जाए। जैसे ये तो ऐसे ही हो रहा था जैसे फैमिली में लड़कियों को कम सपोर्ट करते हैं, लड़के को ज्यादा करते हैं, ऐसे ही ये मतलब मेंस और वुमेन्स की टीम के लिए हो रहा था कि वुमेन्स की फीस कम थी और मेंस की ज्यादा थी। तो अभी ये चीजें इक्वल हुई हैं, तो मे भी समाज भी इन चीजों को एक नजरिए से देखना स्टार्ट करेगा। और उससे एक मतलब हर गेम में और क्रिकेट में तो बिल्कुल ये चीजें मतलब एक समान हुई हैं, तो उसका हमें बहुत ज्यादा बेनिफिट होगा।
तो प्रीति, ये जो लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड की आपने बहुत बड़ी बात की है, देयर हैज टू बी अ पैरिटी, इसी के बारे में आज ये सारी बहस हो रही है। और इतने देर तक ये BCCI को भी ये बात सुनने को मिली थी कि देयर इज नो पैरिटी। तो आपको नहीं लगता कि BCCI जो सबसे ज्यादा रिचेस्ट बोर्ड है दुनिया का, ये इनको ज्यादा एफर्ट करनी चाहिए टू प्रमोट द फीमेल प्लेयर्स और इन टर्न स्पोर्ट को भी प्रमोट करना चाहिए सो दैट ज्यादा स्पॉन्सर्स आ सके और उनकी भी गेम बूस्ट हो सके?
हाँ जी बिल्कुल। जैसे मेंस के लिए मेंस को जैसे एडवर्टाइज वगैरह मिलती हैं, ऐसे ही अगर वुमेन्स को भी मिले तो एक्चुअली क्या है कि जो जैसे अभी आप बड़े बड़े नाम लगा लो, जैसे मिताली राज दी हैं
जी,
हैरी दी हो गए, मतलब इन लोगों के जैसे थोड़े बड़े नाम है, झूलन गोस्वामी हो गए, तो उन लोगों को लोग ज्यादा जानते हैं। लेकिन जो जिन लोगों ने इंडिया के लिए कम क्रिकेट खेली है उनको लोग इतना जानते नहीं है। तो कहीं ना कहीं अगर अगर मीडिया में ये चीजें आ जाए, जैसे स्पॉन्सर वगैरह हमें गर्ल्स को मिल जाए, तो वो मतलब काफी मतलब इम्प्रूव हो जाएगा एक क्रिकेट के लिए भी। और जब फैंस बढ़ते हैं ना प्लेयर्स के, तो उसको एक अंदर से एक वो रहता है कि हाँ मुझे कुछ करना है।
राइट प्रीति, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। एंड विद दैट लेट्स नाउ ओपन इट टू आवर गेस्ट एज वी आस्क द बिग क्वेश्चन ऑन द शो टुनाइट। सो हियर इट इज. Is this a historic move really by the Board of Control for Cricket in India, or there is still a long way to go and there's more to be done? Let me take this across to my guests who are joining me on the broadcast. Ayaz Memon, sports writer and commentator, and who's joining us, and also joining us on the broadcast is Mr. Prahlad Khakkar at Guru. Ayaz, I'll take this across to you first. Do you think this is a step in time or there's more to be done?
Well, I mean, this is an epochal moment. You know, it's a remarkable decision taken by the BCCI, which is otherwise very, very conservative in its approach, as we've seen. And I think this was much needed. I think this is a giant, big step, but obviously this is not the last step. There are many more steps that need to come. I just want to dwell on one thing. The pay parity has been made for matches played. So a woman cricketer and a male cricketer playing a test match will get the same amount of money. I think where the issue is, where there's a bit of a problem, is that the male cricketers playing maybe 10 test matches in a year, maybe 25 ODIs and maybe 20 T20s, while a female cricketer is playing maybe 1/6 or 1/7 of those number of matches. And therefore the net earnings, if you see, will not be the same unless the number of matches for the women's cricketers also increases. But that is going to happen only if there's all-round development of the women's game. There is no real domestic structure for women's cricket in India. You know, the talent pool is not big enough. So, you know, the point was raised about central contract for in the category A, B, and C. Actually, the fact is we don't have enough number of women cricketers. But this could be a big first step. Once young girls know that there is a livelihood to be made from playing sport, and cricket is going to have a big effect on other sports, I think that's the big development which I'm seeing. You know, this is going to have a cascading effect on other sports. Then more and more girls will want to get into sports. You know, societal conservatism will have to change. They'll have to allow more girls to play sports. So in that sense, I think this is a fabulous step which has come around. And yes, the BCCI needs to go further and give women's cricket a boost right from grassroots level to the number of matches played at the international level.
So that's a very, very good point that you've made, Ayaz. Let me take this across to Mr. Khakkar. You know, how does that change, Mr. Khakkar? Don't you think when it comes to the BCCI, I mentioned one of the richest boards in the world, don't you think that needs to be done? That infrastructural expertise needs to be put in so that this boost to women's cricket is actually given?
I think that's what they're in the process of doing. You know, they did that for men's cricket. They went down to grassroots level, but it wasn't done right from the beginning. It's very decent. It's only about 10 years old. And the reason why it was being done, and especially the women are getting the benefit of it, is because the men's cricket team is winning all the time. See, the whole business operates around one factor. Are you a winnable team? If you have a winnable team, then you get a huge fan following. If you get a huge fan following, you get a lot of advertising backing it. If you get a lot of advertising backing it, then you get a lot of sponsorship. So everything is based on winnability. Now, the fact is that the girls have come up to the semi-final twice or the final twice and lost. But they're still not good enough. They have to win and win consistently for them to actually have a huge boost in terms of following. So everything, you know, you can clap with both hands. Because when the girl says that if you give us more money, it will incentivize us. I think it's the other way around. I think they should be incentivized and passionate about the game to be able to do better so that they get more money.
Okay. Ayaz, would you agree? Because if we actually look at statistics, I'll come back to you, Mr. Khakkar. Men and women, when it comes to the cricketing tournaments, they have been fairly head to head. We have to give it to them.
Well, I think the Indian women's cricket team is in the top three in the world,
not where,
along with Australia and England. India is in the top three in that cluster. They're ahead of other teams, but they're not enough teams playing, even from the associate members. And I think that, in India, what Prahlad, I'll just support what he says about one thing.
Yeah.
The minute you start winning, and certainly in New India, people in India, in the India that we live in today, they want winners. In the old days, they wanted people who would play at the international level, do well, get recognition from their peers, etc. That mindset has changed very rapidly. I was in Australia watching the Indian women's team play the Australian women's team in the World Cup final in T20 in March 2020, and 90,000 people turned up. The support by fans in Australia was absolutely fantastic to watch. Now, if that kind of fan following also emerges in India, you'll find that the sponsorship will increase and a lot of things then start settling down. Ultimately, what we are talking about is also not just sport, but the business of sport. How much will the broadcast rights for women's cricket command?
Yeah.
What if the IPL teams are put up? What will the franchises pay to own a team? What will be the purse given to the players? For the players, what kind of purse is given or decided upon, which will mean how much each player will earn from playing in the IPL. All that will have to be sorted out and factored in. But I think we have made a giant move ahead. I think it set the whole cricket world buzzing today.
Absolutely.
New Zealand did it first, yes.
Absolutely.
But New Zealand is, the impact of what Indian cricket does, and now also to what it does in women's cricket is huge. It's humongous. And you'll find that this will have a cascading effect, not just in the cricket world, but also in other sports played in India.
Absolutely. Mr. Kakkar, this point of promoting, ample promotions being given to these female cricketers, that needs to be done so that they have that kind of level playing field. That's when people like you also come in. I was just speaking to a very, very young star, Preeti Bose. What will it take for that mindset to change? Because generationally, we, of course, are male cricket leaning people in, the cricket crazy country like India is. What will it take for promoting young stars like a Preeti Bose if she wins, the World Cup for the country, and why not? Why is it not done?
And she'll be the toast of the day. Every like when Sania Mirza, won the doubles at Wimbledon. Look at the amount of promotion she got, and tennis is not even a popular game in this country. So if Sania Mirza can get the kind of promotion she got because she won at Wimbledon. Then so will Preeti Bose. So whoever else, whichever players are you're talking about, are going to be a part of a winning combination. What you all don't realize is that in this country, we only understand winners. We don't understand second best. They're okay, we'll watch them on television. We won't make a physical presence to try and watch them on playing field. It takes an effort from both sides. So if you're winnable, and if you win a couple of tournaments on the trot, you'd suddenly find everything exploding around them. And that's what it's all about. And you don't win because you're paid money. You win because you're passionate about the game. You win because you got a killer instinct. And that doesn't come because you paid money. That is either exists in you or it doesn't.
Ayaz, women's IPL. Do you think this, of course, also is going to cut it?
Yes, I think that's also a big move ahead, and this was announced a couple of months back. So things are really moving fast. The point I was trying to make is that we can say that BCCI has taken a long time. I come from the era when women cricketers like Diana Adalji, Shanta Rangaswamy, and some of the others paid from their own pocket to play.
Correct.
That we've come a long way from them. That was about 35, 40 years ago. But now, Indian women have been given permission by the BCCI to play in the Big Bash League for women, in the 100 tournament in England, for just to give them more exposure. And through their exposure, when they come back and the young girls they meet and they play against, they get the expertise which is transmitted to them. And now comes the IPL. Apart from the pay scales being becoming equal now, the IPL is going to be a big number. What will be interesting to see is how many takers are there for the 6 teams and at what value. You remember when the men's IPL started in 2008, everybody first was a little skeptical ki pata nahi kya tamasha hoga. But the big boys of industry and the glamour industry jumped in and the IPL took off and then never looked back. In fact, now the IPL is amongst the 4th or 5th largest sports property in the world, the men's IPL. How far women's IPL can go will actually depend on how astutely this franchise sale is managed, what kind of monies comes in, what kind of broadcast rights come in, and that then, ultimately you're looking at 26% coming to the players, then that becomes of significant value in terms of money terms. But, first thing is peg the value of the sports property itself, and then the value for the players will follow.
Yeah. Mr. Kakkar, don't you think at least the game of cricket in the country has actually led the way for pay parity? Because this is much talked about in an industry like the Indian film industry. It is only all talk. Nothing has been done. Not just India, but outside of the country, we're talking about Hollywood. Still, there is no pay parity over there. But at least the Indian cricketing industry, the world has managed to actually bring this in. So this, of course, is historic in many ways.
Of course, it's historic. I think it's a great beginning, but there's a long way to go, because the money that they're paying is not just the
Yes.
The money that they earn. The money that they earn.
Somebody is trying to reach you, sir. If you could just put this on silent, then we'll.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. The money that they earn is directly proportionate to how many people are watching. So what BCCI gives them is only a fraction of what they earn through private sponsorship and through industrial sponsorship. So, I mean, when you're looking at the big picture, the parity is, as far as the officialdom is concerned, which is BCCI, they can give them a even playing field. Well, what happens to private sponsorship? What happens to advertising world? What happens to people endorsing products and so forth and so on? That is almost 70% of the pie. So you must remember that what BCCI is paying them is only 10 to 15% of what they're capable of earning. So if the girls' team starts winning, then you'll find the whole of the advertising industry backing them, because a lot of people watching,
right?
A lot of women watching,
right?
More than even men.
Absolutely. When we have, if we talk about another sport like Nikhat Zareen, when she went ahead and won for the country, there were ads that were actually making a beeline behind her. So do you think that winnability factor is absolutely important? And do you think the Indian cricket, female cricketers sort of lack, because obviously it's a combined, it's a group sport, it's not individual show. Do you think because of that also there's lacking to actually pick on that one player? Mr. Kakkar, let Ayaz answer this and I'll come to you.
No, I think the point Prahlad made is very well made, that the winnability factor. And then you talk about Nikhat Zareen, she's a world champion. She's a world champion in boxing, which in any case is a very kind of unusual offbeat sport for a woman to be participating in from India. We've had Mary Kom, who became legendary, and now we've got Nikhat Zareen and a slew of other boxers who are coming up from the northeast and elsewhere. So, and if you're talking of the medals at the Commonwealth Games, the World Championship, the Olympic Games, they have a kind of stature of their own, and there is a luster of its own. In team sports, obviously, then you are one part of the team. And therefore, so the point I wanted to make also is that you mentioned about Hollywood or Bollywood not having parity in terms of pay scale, but the matrix is different. The algorithm is very different, in my opinion. Virat Kohli and Smriti Mandhana are going to earn the same amount of money for playing the match subsequently after today's decision. But whether Virat Kohli and Smriti Mandhana will be paid the same amount of sponsorship money by an advertiser or a client of Prahlad Kakkar's is really not, is not to be taken for granted. It may differ. It may differ from the star appeal of the player. It may be that Smriti becomes a bigger star than Virat and earns more money, or the other way around. So those are different. I mean, a star actors pool or a female actors pool, with the appeal with the fans may vary, and therefore their salaries for a project may vary. But in terms of a team sport, you can't have differential payment. You can't have Virat Kohli earning 5 crore for a match and some young player who just joined in earning 1/50th of his salary. That would be grossly unfair.
Absolutely.
So that's the parity that we have reached now. So the women cricketers and the men cricketers for a test match, for an ODI, for a T20 will be getting the same amount. And I think that's a huge step forward.
Yes, Mr. Kakkar, please go ahead. You were wanting to make that point. Yes.
No, I've forgotten. I've lost the track of what I was saying. What I was saying was that it doesn't matter whether it's an individual sport or it's a team sport.
Yeah.
The fact is that public at large is only interested in how winnable are they. Now, I keep on going back to this winnable thing because that is the only cure. That is the only magic potion which will give them parity, real parity and serious money from sponsorship. Now, if you divide, as far as the official BCCI remuneration is concerned, they're on parity. But that does not mean that they're going to earn from advertising and from sponsorship and from backing.
But Mr. Kakkar, sadly, let's talk about stories of success. Let's talk about Mithali Raj. We just had a film which was based on her life. Even they are not well received, sadly so. Why are these stories of success not appreciated by the people of the country? That also needs to be looked at. Do you think that is also a reason that male and female disparity in pay is there?
Not at all. Not at all. If your film is badly made, doesn't matter what achievement you make.
Okay.
I mean, nobody's going to watch it.
Okay.
Please. I mean, it has two characters. You have a success story and you have a filmmaking process. If the filmmaking process doesn't engage with the audience, why should they watch it?
Because there was another on Jhulan Goswami that also did not do well. That's why I actually put this question 2 in a row.
Which one?
Another film on Jhulan Goswami which starred Anushka.
No, but
wasn't well received.
No, not at all. No, what do you call Dhoni's film? It wasn't well received either.
Okay.
I mean, everybody watched it initially because it was Dhoni, but it wasn't a well-made film. So eventually it didn't
it did very well. And the fact that it was a Sushant starrer, people will beg to differ. Ayaz, let me actually bring you in. And the point that you were making at the very beginning of this debate of, temperament, also the families that, these women cricketers come from, the lot of patriarchal setup. When you talk about that, do you think that is also pulling these women back? Because if we actually go ahead and talk about this legal action that a US Women's Soccer Player Association had done, actually fighting for their rights, when it comes to pay parity, that sort of resistance isn't seen back home. Do you think the women themselves are pulling themselves back?
Well, I mean, look, there are multiple answers to this, but I'll just give you one or two. One is, of course, yes, there are social constraints for the girl child participating in sports. We are a conservative society still. And my contention has always been for a very long time that if you keep 50% of the population out of sports, then you can't become a sporting nation. So we must encourage the girl child to play all sports, not just cricket, but hockey and boxing and whatever else. And we are doing extremely well because of the women at the Olympic level, at the Commonwealth Games level, and Asian Games level. So there's no reason except for this, patriarchal approach to everything that the girls and the women do that we stop them from participating. So that's one. The other is, and that this is very crucial, that the women cricketers and those who are, propping them up, supporting, actually there needs to be a stronger lobby.
Okay.
There needs to be a stronger lobby of players in the Indian administrative system or the BCCI. It is there, but it's not strong enough. And so are there women administrators in the BCCI? I can't think of even 2 names, and it's the richest cricket body in the world. Now women are getting equal pay, which is great, but going ahead, they need more games, as we've been talking about.
Absolutely. So while we are celebrating the triumphs and achievements of these women, it actually needs to be backed with the kind of money that they receive. Of course, they are playing because of that, and also, to go actually do better for the country. And this is actually a start and something that needs to be celebrated today. I'd like to thank both my guests, Mr. Kakkar and Mr. Ayaz, for joining me on the broadcast. That's it from me. My colleague Shivani is joining you on the other side with Plain Speak.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The face-off between the Congress and the BJP over Kashmir once again took centre stage today after Law Minister Kiren Rijiju wrote exclusively for News18.com on the 75th anniversary of Kashmir accession. The Law Minister minced no words, and in the article titled 75th Anniversary of 5 Nehruvian Blunders on Kashmir, held India's first Prime Minister responsible for the Kashmir issue and accused him of giving priority to personal agendas and ambitions over national interest. Rijiju blamed Nehru for taking the Kashmir issue to United Nations, remember, under Article 35, which gave Kashmir a status of a disputed territory. The minister also took on Nehru for creating the so-called special case for Jammu and Kashmir for Article 370 without any justification, which eventually led to the institutionalization of separatism mindset in the valley. Of course, before that came the dilly-dallying as accused of the accession of Kashmir to India. Congress has come out all guns blazing at the law minister, accusing him of distorting facts. The question today is simple. Was Jawaharlal Nehru responsible for the mess in Jammu and Kashmir, something that is hurting India even till today? We will take that to our guests in just a bit, but first let me break down exactly what the law minister wrote that has led to such an uproar. Like I said, 5 blunders, Nehruvian blunders that he's talking about. The first one, popular approval bogey, invented by Nehru for Kashmir's accession to India. Maharaja Hari Singh was actually pleading with the Indian leadership at that time, but Nehru, as law minister claims, wanted to fulfill his own personal agenda. The Maharaja wanted to accede as early as July itself, but the decision was deferred to by Nehru. He felt that it was best, quote, not to rush into. The law minister asks why. Second Nehruvian blunder, the eventual accession of Kashmir was declared provisional. Provisional accession led to the belief that it was open to debate. This opened up the door that seeded 7 decades of separatist mindset. All the instruments of accession, mind you, were the same for all princely states, including Jammu and Kashmir. Then why was Kashmir made a special and provisional case? India should have ideally leapt onto the opportunity of Kashmir wanting to come to India. And actually only the ruler of a princely state had the decision to make. There was no concept of popular approval. The third Nehruvian blunder, approaching UN under Article 35 rather than Article 51. The Maharaja signed an instrument of accession with India, but Nehru gave the locus standi to Pakistan in this so-called dispute. He accepted Kashmir as a dispute territory between India and Pakistan and also internationalized it. This is something we talk about till today. Remember, those UN resolutions on Kashmir are haunting us till today, when they shouldn't have in the first place. The fourth Nehruvian blunder, the myth that was perpetrated that the UN mandated plebiscite was being stopped by India. The truth couldn't be further from that. It was Pakistan that was refusing to withdraw its troops, remember, from Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, which was the second condition to the plebiscite. So the talk of plebiscite was infructuous, but the sword of the plebiscite continues to hang on India, despite Nehru himself opening up that door. The fifth Nehruvian blunder, the creation and perpetuation of Article 370, Article 306A in the interim draft of the Constitution then. Like the law minister argues, and of course he's quoting many sources and historical facts and data, there is no justification for such an article as, quote, special case. It existed only, Kiran Rijiju's writes, in Nehru's mind. Nehru had his way, Article 370 came into existence, and the institutionalizing of separatist mindset was done with this, something that India has been facing for the last 75 years. Meanwhile, speaking during the Shaurya Divas in Budgam today to commemorate the Indian Army's successes made after the landing of soldiers in Jammu and Kashmir on October 27, 1947, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh took on Pakistan for carrying out atrocities on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir residents. He blamed Pakistan for inhuman incidents in the region and warned that Pakistan will have to pay a price for these cruelties. He said India stands with POK residents, empathizes with them, and shares their grief. And finally, and possibly most importantly, he said India's goal of all-round development in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh will be achieved after recapturing Gilgit and Baltistan. Big statement by the government, quite on the lines of Home Minister Amit Shah earlier, who had said in Parliament, remember, that we will die for Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and bring it back. So the question, as I said, is quite simple. A full panel of guests are joining us. Did Nehru's blunders cost us the Kashmir issue, the Kashmir problem? Did it create it? And was it ultimately behind Pakistan's meddling in Jammu and Kashmir? First up, listen into what both sides are saying.
इतिहास हम अपने हाथों से हम बदल नहीं सकते हैं. इतिहास तो जो है उस इतिहास को सिर्फ लोगों के सामने में रखना था. और मैं मानता हूं कि जो 75 साल पहले पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी ने जो गलतियां की उसको मोदी जी ने ठीक किया है. 5 ब्लंडर ऐसा है जिसका कीमत आज भी चुका रहे हैं.
Kiran Rijiju, unfortunately, is maybe one of the bright students of WhatsApp nursery, but we'll send him some history books. He should also consult some people who understand the history of Kashmir and we can send him some names and numbers and then come and have a debate with us.
Frankly, a lot of these issues have been debated over the last few years, especially with the BJP coming into power, the fact that Article 370 was revoked and abrogated. All of these issues have been coming to light, but this is as hard-hitting a criticism of Nehruvian blunders, quote-unquote,